that we have ourselves a series right here, that Team Vitality come up against Endpoint and sweep them off their feet in game number 1. Just make Endpoint think, wait a minute, this is not the old Vitality.
Use their aggression.
Exactly, yeah. Stay with that level of confidence, belief in each other, and just sheer desire, because we saw so much of that from Vitality earlier. But these up to 7 games will decide who is going to meet Dignitas in the lower semi-finals.
It's the aggression that really set Vitality apart a little bit earlier on, where Singularity really couldn't deal with it, and the scoreline was heavily in favor of Vitality in that regard as well. Endpoint will be harder to shut down, and Seiko on that side of things, a lot of his mechanics today have looked like some of the best Rocket League he has played. In 30 seconds, nothing has happened, but it's going to get electric.
Yeah, we're seeing some of these bumps from Vitality as they come out the rotation, which was pretty effective against Singularity at the start of their series. Really got them going. Fairy Peak sniffing around, looking for bumps and demos. It's already putting Endpoint under pressure. Seiko actually had a pretty fortunate respawn there to be on the same side of the ball. But Vitality come forward again. Alpha shoots. Metsonoris there, just getting a desperate save. It's a really good start for Vitality.
We saw Fairy Peak in the previous series go for those demos as well, and it set them off wonderfully. Outstanding pass there coming in from Relating Waves. Seiko just chilling up the other end, passed it back to Wave on the open net. Crossbar down.
Still air doink there from Seiko as well. Look at this read. Ready? Whoop. Towards Relating Wave. Clean finish, arriving there with the Octane off the crossbar. 1-0 Endpoint.
That was a lovely pass from Seiko too, because I feel like Vitality assumed he'd be going corner boost, then rotating back out, and Caleb was planning for the 50 with Relating Wave. Instead, passing it on, helping the ball down pitch, meant that Wave had a much nicer angle. All 3 of Vitality looked like rats escaping from a ship as they just all dove in the same direction.
A rip-roaring start to the series, exactly what we want to see as Seiko maybe lines up another one of his interesting solo plays. It was well shepherded away there by Vitality. And Alpha can dance to the ball on his roof, back towards the Endpoint half. Closed down by Metsonoris towards the backboard. This is still more good play from Vitality. They did lose the first goal. But as Seiko attempts something there, I'm almost impressed. Metsonoris hitting the post. Vitality see it away eventually.
Chances certainly emerging for the boys in blue. They just need to get a little bit more precise with them. Metza definitely had a chance to make it too.
K-Dop is saved there by Relating Wave, trying to go a little bit cheekily off that wall and get a second touch for himself. But Vitality keep on going. They are showing really good pace. They're getting themselves chances. It's saved by Seiko. But look at Fairy Peak arriving first before anyone in blue. This is where, though, Endpoint can punish them on the counter-attack. Getting those passes on the diagonal, they can just transition it so quickly as Alpha goes up and Relating Wave beats him to it.
Strong defense from Endpoint so far. It's just been that backboard cover, one near post, and then one trying to then push on the attacking player. Give them no space, and a good shot is going to be much harder to get round and wrap round the back of Endpoint.
That one's going to fall towards Alpha. Is there going to be a bump on Metsonoris? He just stays grounded. Relating Wave was helping him out anyway, but another demo coming in from Vitality. Really playing on the demo. Seiko air dribbles over the top. I mean, every time you think that Vitality are in charge, Seiko gets the ball and may look like they're in so much danger, but those passes are going to give them goals.
Wonderful shot there from Caleb on the open net. As Fairy passes it down, Alpha has one man in mind, removes him from the pitch. No save can come in the end, and equalizer for Vitality.
1-1. Very, very impressive performance from Vitality. The version of them that we've wanted to see for such a long time. Fairy Peak pushes that one to the ceiling. There was Caleb arriving in, but now Alpha has to defend against Relating Wave. The air dribble bump is there. It's good, is it? Yes, eventually, thanks to Seiko.
Relating Wave, taking that ball down, slowing it, going for one touch, and then the air dribble bump. It doesn't go in off him. Instead, Seiko has to squeeze it bottom corner.
Endpoint, happy to play on the counter-attack for now. Will they be able to really exert their pressure and keep the ball in the orange half? Because for most of it, it has been Vitality that have had more of the play, and this is why these air dribbles forward, sending Endpoint back on the back foot, closing them down quickly as well. More good play from K-Dop to fall to Alpha, who takes a couple of touches. He wants to go solo with it, and Metsonoris' touch is only as far as K-Dop, who flicks it up, trying to tee up Fairy Peak. Then look how quickly again Endpoint transition. Metsonoris is arriving. He'll go up against Alpha 54. And K-Dop then can combine with his teammate to send it high. I mean, it's still just a really good performance from Vitality despite the fact that they're losing here.
Yeah, they're doing a good job to try and shut down Endpoint as early as they can. I think with Endpoint, though, they just have the other options. They've got a plan B with every plan A that they're putting forwards. Vitality, though, are doing a good job of dealing with it. Great fake coming in from Relating Waves. Seiko can't quite get any convincing shot off. And now is the chance where Vitality have to defend for an extended period of time, and Endpoint either need to punish them or they need to just backtrack a little bit before Vitality form that counter.
How will Vitality's defensive rotations hold off? I mean, that helps when there's two Endpoint players going for the same ball. That does leave Vitality a little bit of freedom to play with if they can find the right pass. As Fairy Peak looks to set up anybody. No, it's just Seiko in the corner. It's a bit of a loose, booming clearance there. We haven't seen too many of those from Vitality so far. I'll need to get things going. 40 seconds left. A clean shot for K-Dot. Alpha's coming in. He just chooses to shoot. Maybe he could have passed. Seiko got the save. Fairy Peak's looking for a bump or a demo, but there's nobody there from Endpoint in that corner. And now they've only got 30 seconds left.
I love seeing Fairy Peak there, though. Just go into that back third and try and get rid of an Endpoint player. Metanoris up for a very interesting touch on the ball. Too far away to save it, however, to shoot it, rather. With 15 seconds left, it's Seiko only passing as far as Vitality. With the passing play emerging, Wave is the seawall that blocks it out.
Yeah, Relating Wave absolutely covered the angles, but Vitality are coming again. Fairy Peak, he gets a late shot. K-Dot's going for a bump on Seiko. The ball somehow doesn't manage to worm its way in. And that, I think, is going to touch the floor on a very, very high-quality opening game, but it's Endpoint that take it.
Endpoint just being able to snuff out those chances from Vitality, that was the difference maker. I saw a couple of awesome saves come in from Endpoint too. Vitality, their shots looked very good. 8 in total, just shy of Endpoint's 12, so a little bit of a disparity. However, I do think there was a lot of chances for Vitality to sink in maybe one more goal, take us to an overtime. Great game management in the end, though, from Endpoint. The demos, I think, Vitality were absolutely key.
Yes, they absolutely were. My only critique would be at the end where Fairy Peak was searching for them just a little bit too much, which makes sense. They have been effective, but he was over there in a corner where no Endpoint players were. So he was sort of driving around thinking, where is everyone? Why can't I get a bump? And during that time, he could have been going back, could have been getting pads, could have been getting himself a lot more involved in the play when they needed a goal with 15 seconds left or so. So one minor critique, but I don't know about you, Stumpy, but that was a much better version of Vitality than I've seen in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, Vitality, they dispatched of a Singularity where I don't want to, like, harp on them too much, but Singularity, they're not the hardest team. It was 8-1, 5-2, and then 3-2. Even then, Vitality, you'd expect them to win 9 times out of 10, realistically. Singularity did a great job to get here and earn their points, but Vitality are a better team. And now they come up against the team that ultimately went through as the #1 seed into the Fall Major, got that top 8 finish, came up against a horrifyingly good FaZe clan. So I think when you look at these two teams in the modern sense, it certainly is it's in favor of Endpoint by quite a large margin, especially considering the finish that Vitality had as well. But this is now a time where Vitality need to prove it, but where Seiko, turning up a 1 flip reset, isn't able to get it, instead then goes for the bump. Just being experimental, I feel, and Endpoint definitely more loosey-goosey with it.
Making the most of the respect that he has as well. Seiko goes for it. They just assume he's going to get it. Just like we assume Relating Wave is going to get this. He doesn't. Falls to Metanoris, and it's 1-0 Endpoint.
That's a completely open passage of play for Relating Wave, though. Nobody there. He doesn't have to score it. It'd be better if he did. But ultimately, Kalop's there for a decent block. Met just has to move up to tap in whatever comes his way. Endpoint taking advantage of Vitality's lackluster back line.
Yeah, that's the thing. Vitality, because they played so well in that first game and they didn't get their win, they can get maybe a little bit snatchy, you know, try and force the issue. The third man moving forward a tad too much. And if they do that, Endpoint more than have the quality to punish them. You can see now they're a little bit boost-starved. Endpoint starting to have massive control of this pitch here on Forbidden Temple. That ceiling pinch will just get Vitality out of trouble for now. Can they do anything with it? Fairy Peak tries to beat Seiko, but Seiko just, as ever, has complete control of the situation.
Just staying so on that ball the entire time leaves Seiko with the possession, and Endpoint getting themselves a goal. Wave can get it this time, and just taps it round all 3 of them. That was Vitality in such close proximity that all of them become fundamentally useless.
Yeah, that is the shame. That is a shame. You try to be so quick that you start to get out of position just a little bit. So Vitality have to keep a close eye on that. But Endpoint doing everything right, just letting Vitality come to them and then playing against them just like that. Seiko getting it past two of them so effortlessly. K-Dot will be there. There's a slight miss from him. What a touch that is from Metanoris to avoid the on-rushing Vitality defense.
Open.
And then now Seiko has all the time in the world, and Stumpy, Endpoint have warmed up.
Since kickoff, K-Dot was in 0 good positions. He moved too far forward. It then led to that passage of play. He got a really clutch sort of save where it just should have been a clear to the corner. And then it was just a poor 50, and everyone on Vitality has assumed somehow it's moving up the pitch. Instead, Endpoint very realistically look at that ball and say, oh, it might fall favorably to us. We'll have one contingency plan and one aggressive player. And they do so. The excellence that comes in from Vitality, it does make up for that one goal, but I want to see more of this, where Vitality put on the effort and they outspeed. The pre-jump from Alpha is perfect.
Yeah, they also have a man in the middle waiting for it. K-Dot showed so much pace to get there, but so many times those passes have maybe been met by a 50-50, or maybe just not been read at all, as Vitality have started to slow down in this second game. That could just be the ignition that they need. And now suddenly Fairy Peak is beating Metanoris. As a pass there to K-Dot, relating wave, squeezes out the danger, but Vitality are looking much better yet again. But until Seiko gets one opportunity, and of course he takes it.
There is no way Seiko decides to do that with the pre-flip onto the flip reset and rockets it off the crossbar. Gorgeous play for the 4th goal. Endpoint are killing it.
Metanoris, he just can't keep in his laughter. That goes in. And Metanoris, I think, had the same reaction as all of us of just, how? How do you do it every single time, Seiko? Against Vitality, against a defense that has historically been so difficult to score against. Seiko doesn't even show it. One demo completely opens up Vitality. Alpha just about blocks it, but Endpoint are really starting to have some fun now.
Vitality sitting in a vice, and Endpoint turning that screw and forcing them into these errors and punching them in the face while they're at it, quite frankly, with the demos. It is a masterclass right now. Endpoint are outplaying Vitality, and there's going to be Vitality waiting on some of these passes, waiting on the errors that do ultimately, that will come in at these points. Seiko missing it at the end of the day, and Metza being left on his own is a fundamental problem for Endpoint.
Being punched in the face maybe, but they just keep getting back up. Do Vitality refusing to stay down, ignoring the referee's call to end this second game. Themselves back into it. Only a couple of goals of difference now. Grinding them out. If they can get one more, things could get very, very interesting, but Alpha has to make sure he's not tackled by Seiko. Again, the respect that he has for him. Seiko's just positioning, gets Endpoint that goal.
Yeah, Alpha making that.
What are you gonna do?
Alpha making the mistake and just having Seiko there, being that nuisance player of like, literally anything you do is going to be the wrong decision. Give us the ball. We'll get this play over and done with. 3 goals, Endpoint lead by now.
3 yet again. It seems that every time Vitality come back, they're just sent right back away again by Endpoint, and it's mainly because of this man here, Seiko. Already got a couple of goals in this game. They're going
Not another pinch.
Going for the pinches. Here we go. Can Seiko get another one? It's saved by Alpha.
90 seconds for Vitality just to hold on to a little bit of hope in this series. Game number 1 was closer. This one is Endpoint all over. It's something that I think Vitality, when they do start to lose, you mentioned it quite early on, Cole, realistically, is that they have that the predisposition to flounder a little bit, get a bit panicky, far too early on, and they gave up 2, maybe 3 goals, can't quite remember, to that happening. And I think that if they hadn't done that, it's a much closer game, and then they don't need to worry quite as much. I think Vitality start to lose their composure far too soon.
They do, but also Endpoint just make any team look like they are losing their composure. Fairy Peak, though, can just give a little bit of life back to this second game if he can turn this one in. Not there. Alpha with the pre-flip, but relating wave is closing it in as well. I mean, this is one of the ways that Endpoint have improved so much as well since Seiko has come in. Their defense. They now look in such control, even when their opponent do have a little bit of territory.
It's a position where we always worried about them. That it always came down to, is Metza playing good defense today? If no, then Endpoint lose. And now are any one of them playing good defense? They're all so capable. It's so good to see Final 20 seconds may well see a goal, but Wave diving again in front of that ball.
Wave just has the absolute download every time Vitality put in a pass. I was convinced we were going to have to, really worry as if any Endpoint fans in here that the last 15 seconds or so could have led to a couple of goals. But just relating Wave, cutting across, making sure that nothing is going to happen. Endpoint, they're backing each other up, they're supporting each other, and it's really paying dividends for them. They're looking just as good as they looked in the full split.
Yeah, it's so exciting to watch. And Endpoint, I think, they were locked in, right, as our team to make the top 5 in that pre-show. And Vitality, they've been taking notes, and they're going to be taking a time out. We're going to be attempting to figure out what is going wrong. And Cole, we're always big fans of taking a timeout after only 2 games. If you take it after 3, that's probably too late.
Yeah, we had Jorby in the last series saying that 3-0 is just not the time to do it. You can tell that things aren't quite happening at a couple of games down, and that seems to be the case here right now for Vitality. But I think that what really frustrates me somewhat is that they played so well in that first game. Then in the second, they tried to double down on what worked to the point where it just became a crutch for them instead of an advantage. They thought, oh, okay, playing well, playing quickly, that's working against Endpoint. Let's rush into absolutely everything, and just overdid it all.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that Vitality, if they go 1 or 2 goals down, as I was saying during that match, chill out. Just chill. Like, you don't need to worry too much. If it's 2 goals down and you have 20 seconds left, sure, obviously throw everything at it. Endpoint, though, in this, apparently has still got Mount. He's joined them. He's over with Endpoint, going to be telling them, just stop scoring less than my boys. They're standing up, though, at the Endpoint headquarters, walking around. Metanoris, famously not in his chair. It's something that we've always wanted to see him continuing, where he gets up, stretches, removes his thoughts, right, from his head of like, look, just keep playing, get that game, get another one, and then, we'll win eventually. And it's worked. Since they've had the sports psychologist, Callum, I believe his name is, come in and really help them out, they have changed to the nth degree.
I mean, this helps as well. Look at that flip reset there from Seiko. He's just flinging the ball, reminiscent of his goal earlier for Endpoint. I mean, they are just so effective for him right now. And the thing is that his teammates, they are searching for him to do exactly that play. Whenever Endpoint are in need of a goal, just fling it. Seiko, he'll put it top corner.
Yeah, that's the thing. But like, even if he doesn't score it on that first play, you've then got Metza coming in to then send it in the net. You've got relating Wave. The biggest chance on that goal was when Seiko was just so close to Alpha and forced him into an error, and Wave just said, I'll send it top bins then. Cool, that's a goal. That's our 4th goal, whatever it was. Awesome to see. Vitality have now concluded their timeout. We are in game number 3. Endpoint lead 2-0. You can see their blue pips up at the top. But pipping the first goal is Vitality.
Precisely what Vitality needed, the start that they were desperate for, and it comes off the back of not only a Seiko mechanical error, but credit to Fairy Peak. He saw it coming, he gambled on it happening, and then he put the pass in the center for his teammate Alpha.
And bear in mind, I think both goals from for Vitality came from Seiko making an error, where his teammates were not realistically expecting him to miss. He misses again. So he's not been perfect by any means in this series. He's made those problems that have ultimately given Vitality goals. And that's how close Vitality are playing 2 goal-scoring opportunities. There just may be an error in there that's separating them each time.
Oh, that's brilliant play from Vitality as well. A demo leading to a beat. And no Endpoint touches between them. Didn't get a goal from it. I think that was a good respawn there from Endpoint, but still really stellar work there from Vitality as Alpha goes to the backboard. He wants to knock this one downwards. Sonora sends it wide, but it's great play yet again from Vitality, and suddenly Endpoint looking just a little bit rattled.
Chance, though, for Seiko to take it past that mid-line. Bumps Alpha out the way, but does relinquish control of the ball. Mets Norris to carry, but runs out of boost. And so onto Wave to grab. That aggression from Vitality, Cole, it is starting to return.
Oh, but as soon as Seiko beats a Vitality member for pace, look at the panic, look at the finish, it's 1-1.
It's over a minute gone, and Endpoint get their first. Great pass in the center from Seiko, but the fact that 2 Vitality members try and challenge for it, that's not what you need on defense. That's that rushed defense that either the communication's an issue, either it's something completely out of the game where they just don't know who should be going for it in that situation. Something is wrong, and it's been repeatedly a problem.
so close there. I genuinely thought that Seiko was going to somehow fashion a way to flip reset that one goalwards. He might score this one. It's coming forward, and it's 2-1.
Look at how scared K-Dot played on this as well. K-Dot went up so early, just trying to cover Seiko. So he goes, stay on the ground then, lol. I'll just send it low. I'm just going to send that so low and so ultimately targeted into that bottom corner that he gets that second goal. Great play from him, nice and simple. And that's what Endpoint are they're very comfortable to do it. They're not here for the clips, even though they do hit them. They are here for eclipse.
Look at the number of times where Endpoint just have time to let the ball bounce in that Vitality half. And it is the defense where Vitality really struggle against Endpoint. They're scoring goals against them, but as soon as Endpoint do get control of the ball, it just looks like they can wait their moment and then strike. But Vitality defending further forwards is what we want to see. Fairy Peak causing more havoc up top. There's no one there on this occasion for it. Vitality's rotation broke down somewhat, but Endpoint are able to make the most of it. Knocking it to the corner is Metsonoris. That clearance actually really nice. A good pass there for a shot. Just to put Endpoint under a little bit of pressure, then a dunk puts them under even more. This could have turned into something dangerous. Vitality playing a much more defensive game now.
Yeah, Vitality are sitting back, and thus far it is working. I do worry that maybe Endpoint will just get sick of it and score a worldie. Of course, that can happen. To move though onto that backboard, it finds Seiko, and you always worry that something big is going to happen when that man gets his tires on the ball. But K-Dop up for the 1v1 with 18 boost, has to find a teammate, but Relating Wave with a vital interception.
Relating Wave has done that so many times, right when Vitality is starting to get something mechanical going, but the passes are finding each other. Metsonoris gets dunked by K-Dop, 2s across the board.
Great chance there for K-Dop just to work his way into the play, and he does so. Guessing where Metza has to put the ball, because he's jumped and he's flipped, he's only going in one direction. K-Dop knows the trajectory of him and therefore the ball. Gets in front of it, can dunk it on all of the 2s, and Vitality, this game, looking significantly better.
If there weren't 2s all over chat right there, I am massively disappointed. As I think K-Dop will be disappointed with that pass as well. Just a little bit too much height when Fairy Peak was waiting to make his move. That one's a lot better from Alpha 2 K-Dop. It's only a clearance there back to Endpoint, but really good composure and defense there from Vitality.
Great boost steals coming in from Relating Wave as well, but Alpha, that positioning, so aggressive, nearly gets them a goal, just a little bit too high. So Relating Wave working his way down the pitch, does steal boost from Fairy Peak, and Alpha with that pre-jump up into the shot for Fairy Peak. Starting to see Vitality linking plays together now. Nearly one coming in from Endpoint.
How on earth didn't that go in? I thought it had gone past him, but apparently the save was made. And it was an important one too, keeping Vitality in this one. In Game 3, these 2 did play yesterday. It went all the way to 5. So if Vitality can get 1, they do have previous of at least getting a couple against recent Endpoint, as K-Dop gets a really good delayed little flick there, putting that one central. But look how deep his 2 teammates here. Defensive Vitality, a massive shift since the timeout. And it's starting to frustrate Endpoint maybe.
I mean, this is, by the looks of things...
Got to be!
Nearly. Metsonoris just sneaking in the way. This is the first best of 7 these guys have played since the 3rd grid in EU Winter, back in Season X, and Endpoint managed to take it. 2 games only coming in for Vitality there. It's a long time ago, but these guys just don't play each other late in tournaments.
Fairy Peak sends that one high. Alpha's arriving, going for that pre-jump again. They tried it a lot on day 1, didn't quite work there. But it's starting to look more likely, and Endpoint are starting to look a bit more vulnerable to it as the boost starts to get stretched, the game starts to get more tense. Relating Wave and Alpha there in the corner, looking for a lucky bounce right now, or Endpoint. Metsonoris is trying to force it, but Alpha was aware.
Good chance of Metza to get that central again, but with Caleb up in an awkward position, Wave can go for the double. Forgoes going for it instead. Vitality just looks so awkward, and Metsonoris with a goal.
I'm sure that... I think it was Alpha could have got a second touch here. He gets the 50-50 against Seiko. Oh, and he just lands to the side of the ball. Yeah. It was slightly unlucky there from him, but Metsonoris, with all his experience, he saw it coming, and he gives Endpoint the lead, 17 seconds away from Vitality needing a reverse sweep.
It was those multiple shots that came in, and now it's going to be Vitality needing the same on the blue net. 10 seconds remain. Relating Wave challenging in the air versus Fairy Peak. Mets are now onto that right wall. K-Dop with a lovely pass back to K-Dop. On target. Relating Wave the wall again.
It's still up though. Alpha 54 to the backboard. Fairy Peak's underneath it. He tries to slam it home. And Mets the Norris does what he's always done and keeps that ball out of his goal.
That pressure from Vitality was some of the most intense pressure they've had, and it literally lasted 10 seconds. Fairy Peak just about missing out on that final shot. It falls between him and the defender, and Endpoint. 3 games in hand, 1 more, and this is a sweep versus Vitality.
It was another good performance there from Vitality. Their first game in the series was really good. The second one, not so much for large swathes of it. But that one was a different sort of Team Vitality than what's been working today. They basically said, keep Endpoint CEX out at all costs, which, you know, when you're up against one of the teams that is best in your region and are ultimately in very good form, there's nothing wrong with playing defensively. So I don't blame Team Vitality for doing that. You know what? I hope they do the same thing. I hope that they just stay as solid, try and frustrate Endpoint as much as possible, because that to me seems like the key to unlocking them.
I think that's either going to be the key to unlocking them, or it's going to be the key to your own demise, where your door just gets smashed down. You're like, fair play. Actually, Endpoint could just do it regardless. But in game number 4 on Utopia, it's a chance for Endpoint to sweep their way through and meet Dignitas in the lower semi-finals. Are they going to be able to do it, or will K-Dog get Vitality off to a flying start?
Now, Seiko's got another chance for a flip reset. Just about runs out of juice there. I still somehow backed him to ping that ball hard and fast into the top corner, even from an absolutely disgusting negative angle. Not on that occasion, but maybe he's teed up Relating Wave to the backboard. He goes, he shoots, but it's sent out wide.
Yeah, just a little bit too awkward on that, especially with the defender coming in. Seiko up for one fake, and it's gone in!
Oh, that's so clever! That is so clever, Seiko. Never looked from the angle I was at like he was hitting it, but look at the carnage he caused on Fairy Peak, K-Dop, and Alpha.
Forces them
so
to
cruel.
jump, makes them respect what Seiko is capable of, and instead Metsunoris is credited with the goal. Seiko may have 8 points, but he has got the assist 100%.
Brilliant pass that was, though, into the center. Fairy Peak tries to get an immediate equalizer. Not happening again for Vitality as Seiko has got another flip reset from the pass. They just try and feed him that over and over again, and it terrifies every defense.
He's a flip reset merchant. We went to the Endpoint headquarters, and they were just saying, they were jokingly saying, come on, do something other than flip reset. Like, come on, actually be interesting. But it's something he does so perfectly. Everybody on Endpoint, so everyone on Vitality rather, doing their best phase impression and sending every player to the ball to defend it. More attacks now coming in for Vitality. A miss from Fairy Peak forces Seiko up for one. Can he get the second? No boost.
Any chance of just being disciplined and solid as possible has just been snatched away from Vitality, and now they're just going for it. Now they're just flinging everything at Endpoint, seeing if anything's going to land. Seiko's going for another flip reset. Alpha just hovering in the air. Hold strong. Who's going to win this race? It's Metsunoris passing it out wide to Relating Wave. Right when it looks dangerous for Endpoint. Again, there comes Metsunoris.
Yeah, chance for Metza to get some wonderful saves here. A demo from Alpha on Metza is a brilliant idea, and now look at the attack form. It does get slowed down by Alpha, and Wave bounces in a perfect position. Metza saves it away from the net this time, and tipped over the top by Metza again. That man is touching this ball every 5 seconds, and it is crucial.
He's doing so much work right now for Team Endpoint. Metsunoris, 57 years old, the length of time he's been in this esport, and he still sees the game as well as anyone. Is that one finding his way in? Yes.
Relating Wave, bottom left, and it's the second goal for Endpoint. Fairy Peak and K-Dop looking lost on that back wall. There was no chance there was no possibility where both of them staying on that wall was the right thing to do. Someone has to jump off and has to commit to shut down the angle. Instead, Relating Wave, he can just thread it nicely. Chance of Metza to go for a solo.
Yeah, can Metsunoris still on the other side of the pitch? He tried to, he took his time, but it was seen away in the end by Vitality's defense on the backboard. They're trying to get another one of these passes going, but it's just not quite connecting. The transition isn't there for Vitality. Endpoint squeezing it so quickly, forcing the passes not to be accurate enough. All Fairy Peak can do is go for a wayward 50-50 against Relating Wave. It's a better touch for Alpha, though, making Metanoris make an honest save. Then Fairy Peek into the corner. K-Dop's arriving, and Alpha, does he go for this one? It was a decision to be made there. He went for it in the end, and the 50-50 goes wide.
Yeah, right decision. You have to shut that down. If you turn your back on it, you are in a bad position to be saving it away from anybody on Endpoint right now. Fairy Peek missing the shot entirely. Chance for K-Dop to shoot.
Oh, no.
It's only post.
Oh, that absolutely had to be in from K-Dop. And now Endpoint surely will be sensing that victory is within their sights. They want one more. Fairy Peek's almost bumped off away from the ball. Metanoris to the back, but he wants to get another touch to redirect it. Alpha and Fairy Peek double commit. It's pandemonium on the Vitality goal line, but still only 2-0 to Endpoint. Maybe K-Dop can make amends, not quite that occasion. Fairy Peek can't steer it in goal either.
Relating Wave with another save to keep it away. On that right-hand side, he's going to be trying to get it past that halfway line as Vitality. They are trying to crunch Endpoint into any amount of submission. But Seiko, between the two players, on for the second shot. Doesn't quite get it over towards Metanoris. 3 is not destined in this game.
Alpha does beat Seiko to the ball there. Amazingly, we haven't seen a third goal for either team. Met's a nice couple of touches. Every touch is getting time away from Vitality here as Alpha tries to shoot. Seiko, what a clearance. Look how much distance he's got on that one. Fairy Peek's going to try and tee up K-Dop, who gets a couple of touches. Could be really awkward for Endpoint if he can get one more, but he just can't do it. Alpha shoots, Met stays, and Alpha's follow-through doesn't quite go in.
So close to just getting the second tap on that. A K-Dop-esque shot reading the play, but isn't able to do so. The final 20 seconds stand between Endpoint and that lower semis. It's a shot from Seiko. Does not go in this time, but the pressure is building. They are earning this victory with every touch of the ball. Alpha to shoot, but Wave to save it away. This has been an incredible performance for Endpoint. Get your brooms out, ladies and gentlemen. It is a sweep.
Endpoint make it into the top 4, and it's a Seiko masterclass in attack. What a performance from him in particular, but Metanoris and Relating Wave as well, Stumpy. They make Seiko's job so much easier.